Hi guys, welcome back to Tattoo Homewreckers. This is a podcast where we talk about tattoos, life, and everything in between. My name is Callie. This is Gaia. And we have a special guest.
Why did you make me say my own name?
We have a special guest here on the podcast today, and this is...
Greg or Hedge.
Hedge.
Everybody calls me Hedge over on this side of the coast.
Ooh, he sounds so cool saying that.
Yeah.
If you're wondering who Hedge is Gaia's dad. And
I was going to say the most important person in this room. But
ooh,
I mean,
President Hedge.
Yes, President Hedge.
Yes, President Hedge.
Yeah, the OG President Loki.
Oh my god. Hedge, fun fact, always has the coolest shirts ever. Today he is wearing a space shirt.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's funny because somebody goes...
It has my name on it.
He goes, "Are you a Flatlander? I'm like, yeah, with this shirt."
Yes. Showing the curvature of the earth.
Exactly.
So we're indeed emphasizing that we live on a flat earth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, okay.
Yeah. I think he bought it just because my name is on the shirt.
I
It
didn't
has the
even
definition
notice.
of earth, and it
Yep,
says Terra
Mother Earth.
and Gaia.
Isn't that sweet?
Yeah.
So yeah, very fitting shirt for the podcast today. We just got back into town in Reno, I think 2 days ago.
Yeah.
And Hedge flew in the day we got back. And so he is staying with us for like a week. And we decided to have him on the podcast because he's a very, very important person in our lives.
Yeah.
So basically this episode is just us interrogating Hedge. So.
You ready?
Yeah,
It's
ready.
going to be 100 questions.
Whatever.
Yeah, we're just going to bounce back and forth. Hedge,
No.
question 1.
Yes.
Mustard or ketchup on your hot dog?
Both.
Both.
If you had to pick one, mustard or ketchup.
Ketchup.
Okay.
Good choice.
Depends on the mustard.
What kind of mustard?
Like a nice, bold mustard.
Okay.
I would take that.
Like a deli mustard?
Yeah.
Honey mustard is my favorite.
What do you put on your ketchup? Or on your ketchup?
On my ketchup.
What do you put
Ketchup.
on your hot dog?
On my hot dog, I like to do mustard, actually. I'm not a big ketchup person on the hot dog. I like mustard just because it's hearty. It's a really strong flavor.
They got this honey ranch from Kraft, I think.
Mhm.
It's like, and it has a little spice to it.
He said a little
Hot
spice.
take.
Hot take.
Yeah.
Gaia's answer is ketchup for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100% ketchup.
All right, second question. We're going to up the ante a little bit. Hedge, what is it like being the dad of a tattoo artist?
Why do you keep whispering when you talk to him?
I don't
You're
know.
like dropping down. You're like,
He was
okay, I'm gently asking
He was just
him
making
this.
fun of me for doing that earlier on our mic
Yeah.
check.
You keep
One
whispering.
benefit, free tattoos.
You did just
Yeah.
get tattooed yesterday.
And I like to see her blossom and expand.
One guy just made a face when he said blossom. You didn't like the word blossom? I thought that was really
That's
cute.
so weird. Yeah, because your dad's not saying it.
Blossom and expand.
He means I'm getting bigger. Yeah. I'm not pregnant, just so no one thinks I'm pregnant. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just getting more and more. So that's what he means by expand.
Every time you see us, we do get buffer and buffer.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that is fair.
We kept-
Yeah.
So that's how come I'm working out, so I don't have to be like a little one munching in the middle.
Yeah, for anyone who doesn't know, my dad just started doing street parking with us a couple months ago. We had a little mini health intervention where
Oh
I
my
just
God.
yelled at him. And then I was like, well, you know what? Happy Father's Day. I'm going to get you a membership to work out. And he has been kicking all of our asses.
Crushing it.
We all 3 worked out this morning.
Yeah.
And yeah, he completely just mopped the floor with me and
Yeah,
Kelly.
blew us out of the water.
Yeah, he
I was
lapped
so
us an
surprised.
entire round.
Yeah, and I was literally like, oh my god, I think this workout is in Hedge's wheelhouse because
Yeah.
I was fucking struggling.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was dying.
Yeah, and that was so fun. Yeah, but Hedge has been super consistent working out.
Mhm.
And that's been like, how was that? Starting
At least I'm not sucking like a fish. You know? Well, when I first, because I don't have weights, when I first started out, I was using a windshield wiper bottle. And it was equivalent to 8 pounds. I'm like, 8 pounds. Okay, no big deal. That shit kicked my ass.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then now I'm up to 25s, but I'm going to have to go up more because even the 25s are getting easier.
Yeah, so he worked out with 25s today, and it was entirely too light because he destroyed it.
Yeah, which is funny because I'm like I'm struggling to work out with 25s. I have to convince myself to work out with 25s. I love me some 20s.
It's like 20s all the way.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah.
So I'm going to boost it up to probably 30 when I get home.
Oh. Good for you, Hedge. You did just say that you did just get tattooed yesterday? That was yesterday, right? Wow, it's been a long couple of days. I wanted to ask you, what major differences do you see getting tattooed today versus when you first started getting tattooed?
Well, it's just different because we use numbing solutions now, and it really helps on especially tender areas.
Yeah.
But just the rotary machines are just so quiet.
I know, aren't they nice?
They're just so nice. You can have a conversation. You can put on earphones, read a book, and it's not that like a jackhammer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Or you can listen to other people, or still just have a nice conversation with your artist. Instead of that especially when they start going in.
It is so annoying.
Oh, Jesus, get out of there.
Yeah, we have, whenever someone turns a coil machine on at the studio, I instantly am just like, oh, dang it.
Yeah, you can see us just visibly bristle.
Exactly.
It's terrible.
It's just the rotary is just so quiet.
It is, yeah. How about bandaging? You have tattoo derm on you right now.
Right. It's changed because, like I told her, it's at least you don't have to go to Piggly Wiggly and get the meat packet.
Piggly Wiggly.
And if you're from the South, I love Piggly Wiggly because I'm from Arkansas and all we have is Walmart, but Piggly Wiggly or Kroger's.
Are you from Arkansas? No, you live in Arkansas.
I live in Arkansas.
Where are you from?
Nebraska.
Nebraska. What part of Nebraska?
The west side.
West side.
we don't associate with Omaha. Anything past North Platte, Omaha is we don't consider them Nebraskans.
Really?
They are not Nebraskans.
Nebraskan drama. Okay, so then
Callie offended a bunch of people in, what was it?
Colorado.
Oh
my God, you guys. It's not that serious. They got upset when we did the Good American episode, and I was really upset that I didn't know what state was Colorado.
Oh my God.
Because it's such an easy one, right?
Oh, when you guys were doing that, I was laughing so bad. I was like, she don't even know where I live.
Did you like our Kansas and our second Kansas?
Second Kansas, third Kansas. Oh, I think this is Arkansas.
This is it. And then we had OG Kansas.
Yeah, and I posted it on TikTok, and it was our first TikTok that got kind of viral, and it was just all the comments were just people in Colorado so upset, and they're like, I'm from Colorado. This is offensive. Really, Colorado? I was like, really? All the Coloradans are getting upset. People from Kansas are totally chill. We had OG Kansas and second Kansas, and I didn't have a singular comment on that.
Yeah, and they were totally fine with all right, cool. You don't need to know where Kansas is.
Yeah, but Coloradans.
Yeah.
God. Yeah, they were mad.
You would think they're the first state to legalize weed. They'd be a lot more chill.
Oh my God. Seriously. But, okay, so you say you're from Nebraska. That begs me to ask the question, how did you get involved in Gaia's life then? Because Gaia, what was the story with that?
She was from Florida.
She was from Florida? I wasn't
from
you were
originally.
In Florida.
At that point.
Originally, you were from England.
There you go.
But
I
didn't
had to pause to think
know
about
you
that.
then.
Yeah, he did.
Originally, she's from some foreign country.
Across the pond.
Yeah.
I met her mom, and then we were talking, and then we headed off, and she was going through a divorce, and she moved up with this one.
To?
It was South Carolina.
Okay, were you living in South Carolina?
Yep, I was at Shire Air Force Base.
Oh.
Sumter.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so how old were you when you first met Gaia?
It was in the 30s. 30. I'm thinking 35, 38, something like that.
What?
I don't know.
In the 30s.
She tells me shit like...
How old are you now?
I'm 58.
Okay, so you would have been 33.
Okay. So I was in the 30s.
There you go.
33. That was quick math.
Because she tells me stuff is like...
I think he was technically... he turned 34 when I... No, he was 34 then.
When he came up. 34, 35.
Yeah, because I was 11 when you guys got married. Because I had my 12th birthday in South Carolina.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Now we got some, like, markers. Some, like, I wanted to ask, because we talked about this a little bit before. How was it, like, I guess, dating someone who had kids already?
I didn't have no problems with it.
Were you nervous at all?
No.
Really? Because you don't have any other kids.
Exactly. I was a single person.
Single entity.
I didn't have what they call baggage.
Oh, okay.
Maybe not children baggage, but you had been blown up.
We're just going to start.
I was going to say, some baggage.
We're going to start calling children baggage now. Do you have one baggages or two baggages?
Yeah. How many check bags do you have? How many check bags? He came with carry-on.
It's $35 for the first one, and it goes up from there.
$80 after that.
Yeah, straight up.
He was only carry-on baggage, no checked luggage.
Right.
Do you remember meeting Hedge?
Yeah.
Really? What was that like?
The first time we met, I met him in a parking lot. And he had so like my dad was, because he's dead, so he's not anymore.
Right.
Was
bio dad.
Yeah, bio dad. He was like pretty conservative.
Okay.
Which is crazy because my mom was wild.
Yeah.
But opposites attract. But he was really conservative. And just like I don't know, just like a nice dude. And then, and no tattoos. And like wouldn't let me get my ears pierced.
Wow.
So I got my ears pierced like in the middle of their divorce because it was Lorna's way of like, that's my mom's name.
The drama.
Of like,
rebellion.
Yeah.
Right.
Of like, this is my kid. I'm doing what I want with her. And that was like one of the few things I used for the divorce to be like, oh, ear piercing.
You said, how fun is this? I can just do this now.
Yeah, so I got my ears pierced at 12 and then my nose pierced at 14. But my dad was pretty like straight-laced. And then I met Hedge, and he had come down to Florida where we were like living at the time. And I met him like in a parking lot. My mom was like, oh, this is my, friend.
Yeah.
And he had the coolest leather jacket. And we were going to a little like downtown like festival type thing. Because the town we lived in Florida always had all sorts of like events downtown. So this was just like a craft fair. And we went to a craft fair. And he let me wear his jacket. And of course, I'm 12, so I'm like quite small, probably like your size. He's a pretty big dude. So
your size.
Yeah, straight up. You're about 12-year-old me size.
I'm a 13-year-old boy. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well, 12-year-old me was a 13-year-old boy because I wore all the stuff you wear now.
I'm just catching up.
And yeah, so then I got to wear his jacket, and my friend Michelle was there, and we all just walked around, and I felt so cool wearing this like big old like a proper, because he was like a biker. Like a biker, like had a motorcycle.
Cool guy.
Yeah, super cool. Tattoos. And I honestly don't remember anyone before him that I knew that had visible tattoos. And so I was just like, this guy's so cool. He's got like a gnarly scar in his face that made him look like an actual like motorcycle badass.
Yeah, right? Like you're a gangster or something. Like you were like
OG crazy.
Don't fuck with him.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where you like instantly felt like you were cooler and also safer, but a little bit more in danger in his presence. So it's really cool. It's like a small kid.
So when your mom introduced you to her friend,
which one was that?
You.
Okay.
There were a lot of them.
Yeah, lots of friends. When did that like transition become into like, I guess, Hedge like stepping into like father role? Like
not until after the divorce.
Yeah, so I guess he was like a really gradual stepping into like fatherhood, like the first conversation, because like she didn't tell us she was getting married. She had divorced my dad, and then a couple months later went on a road trip to visit his family, and like went to Sturgis and like was doing all the biker stuff. And she came back from that, and we were staying with my grandma at the time. Like, we were just like visiting with her. Mm-hmm. And then she came in, and immediately, because as certain therapists have pointed out, I'm very observant. So I got to see her
sometimes.
For like 2 seconds. Mm-hmm. She walked in the door, and like Hedge was with her, and I instantly clocked that she had a wedding ring. And I like looked at it and looked at her and was like visually like, what the fuck? And she just gave me this like all-knowing like smirk, and I was fucking livid. Because I was 11, I was totally old enough to have been a part of a fucking wedding, or at least have been discussed in the factoring of the you just went off and married somebody.
Wow.
And so like Hedge, being like the emotionally mature person he is, knew that he was like, hey, I'm not trying to come in here and be anyone's dad. Like, I'm not trying to do that. So like I was fucking pissed off with her, and I didn't want to talk to her about it, because I was just like, you did the ultimate like shitty thing and just went off and got married, which was a major life decision, and you didn't tell your children. Mm-hmm. Which, whatever, you know, that's her life. She fucking reaped what she sowed.
Right.
And then one of the first discussions we had after that was that he was like, look, like, I'm not trying to replace your dad. I'm not trying to be your dad. Like, you have a dad. He is a great dad. Like, I don't want to step on any toes. I don't want to be any of that. So like, I'm not trying to be your dad. I am trying to just be your friend. And then there was like, it was probably like, I don't know, because I moved up with them like maybe a month later. Mm-hmm. And then we were out on base one day, and we ran into somebody he worked with. Mm-hmm. And it was really funny because like back then it wasn't as popular for like men to like basically just marry somebody with like kids and just instantly be like, these are the kids, they're just with me all the time. So when he would introduce me to people, like, you know, he's a 30-some-odd-year-old man with a 12-year-old girl, like going on base shopping.
Look at that pedophile.
Yeah. So, and he didn't know what to call me because he didn't want to, you know, obviously
step on toes and
be presumptuous.
Like, yeah.
And we had probably, it's one of my like fondest like early memories of us running into somebody he worked with who just stopped us on base and was like chatting, and Hedge was there trying to figure out like how do I introduce like this young child that is now with me, because everyone obviously knew he was a bachelor. And that like all of a sudden he just has like
a child,
and so a full-grown child.
Yeah. Yes.
So he was like, this is my daughter. And he looked at me for like
give me some guidance here.
Help me out.
What should I
say? And the guy is there looking at him, looking like, wait, like, did you just find out you had a kid? Like, what's going on?
What's the story?
Yeah, like very much what's the story.
This is a child. This is a baggage
that
I now have.
Yeah, this is a 12 or an 11-year-old baggage I now currently own. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, like, you know, like, was like, hi, yeah, you know, this is my dad. Mm-hmm. And then he just looked at me and like tears welled up, because he's always been like super emotionally like aware enough to, he's not one of those men that's like afraid of like crying. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this is my dad. And he just like tears well up and just starts streaming out his face, and he's there just like and we went back and forth for a while where I had to deal with like a lot of guilt of like, hey, can I call you my dad? Because I already have a dad.
Right.
Like, how do I do that?
Like, what are the steps on that?
Callie's also crying now.
I am.
I'm the only person here with fucking dry eyes. Go me.
It's very sweet.
And then I had to go back and forth on that, because I felt like all of my dad's side of the family would be really mad, and my dad would be really hurt.
It's confusing as a child.
Right.
You know, also just, I mean, having your mother come home and all of a sudden she's married. So
surprise!
Fast transition. That's
quick.
Very quick.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And the funny part is your relatives in England I've never met.
Oh no, they love you though.
And they love me.
Oh, well, everyone loves Hedge though. That's
I was
the thing.
like, I need to go to England.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to come to England so you can see like where I grew up and stuff.
Right.
Oh,
and everyone over there already loves you. So.
I know. That's so funny.
They know how to drink over there. They know how to drink.
Oh, well, yeah.
They kept like feeding me wine. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. It was nuts. It was so cool. Anyways, getting sidetracked. I had another question to ask, I guess, as far as like fatherhood goes and having this be like such a sudden thing, but like also an organic thing, because obviously like you're not with Gaia's bio mom anymore.
Right.
And I don't know, like how did it come to, obviously like you basically half raised like Gaia and her brothers and you know all that stuff. How did it come to a point where like now you're here and obviously like that path ended with her bio mom?
It was, you know, I think people grow and people change. And with you, I haven't changed.
Yeah.
With her, I have.
Right.
So the distance we had or the problems we had didn't go with this relationship.
Right. So all of a sudden, yeah, I guess that makes sense, because I wanted to, I guess, to really zone in on the question, ask like, was there ever a thought of like, oh my gosh, like, is it wrong for me to like continue a relationship with like her kids? Or is it like, obviously you were there for most of their childhood, I guess, like,
right.
I wouldn't say childhood, but you know, like adolescence and like.
I think the funny part is when I look back at it, when I did marry her, they were like, "Oh, your guy's gonna get divorced.
Really?
She's gonna leave you," or it's just like it's.
Yeah.
They were like, she can't. She doesn't have. I don't know how to put it in words, but they were like, it's not gonna work.
More accurately, I'll say it because he's being really polite. 11-year-old me straight up told him that.
What did you say?
I said, you shouldn't have gotten married because she's not good at marriage.
Right.
Wow.
Because
nice.
at that point, you know, she'd been through 2 divorces,
Right.
and I don't actually think she's not good at marriage. I think that was just me processing.
You being a kid
But
too.
then,
Savage. Straight savage.
just straight savage. Me processing the divorce, and then the fact that like I was also bitter that she went and did this, and like now I understand fundamentally why, and it's because like being a woman, she wasn't going to be able to live with a man and also get custody of her kids. Because we wouldn't, like, the courts would not have allowed her to have like lived with a full-grown man that she was not married to. So like logistically, she did what the best move was as a mother,
right?
To make sure she could still provide for her children,
right?
So like that I genuinely understand, and I'm not judging anyone who like does that, because you have to do what you have to do. But we were just like, look, it's because we were like, dude, she's done this twice, she's not gonna fucking stay together. And then like you, as you know, anyone who listens knows like my mom and I have always had a tumultuous relationship since really young, and then teenage years it just got amplified. So even like for me speaking about it, because you could see when you're outside of a relationship, you can oftentimes see the reality of it better than the people that are in it.
Yes.
And so we as a family saw the way that like their relationship was unfolding. And for me, I was always, because you know it's me and I'm blunt and I'm vocal, I was always vocal about the fact that like, hey, just so you know, like if you guys get divorced, and this was before I turned 18, like if you get divorced, like I'm picking you, so you better plan on adopting me, because like I'm
plan on it.
Oh, yeah.
I at that point was estranged from my father because of like my mother and my relationship. So I was estranged from my father. So I was like, well, dude, I'm not going with her, I'm going with you. So I think at like 14 was the first time I told him that. So 3 years into their marriage, but I was already just like, hey, if shit doesn't work, plan on, you have a kid, dude. Like I'm your kid.
Straight up.
But I also think that like to build off of that question of like that divorce, I don't think because people get divorced or separated, I think that a marriage is separate from parenthood and parentage, because I think that like,
because you can be divorced and still be good parents to the child.
Yeah. And so I don't think that like, because you don't have any of your own biological like, you know, kids
that I know
but
of.
Yeah, that you know of. You could have lots. Baller over here. Well, player.
I've been overseas, but
I've been overseas
a lot. So I could find out one day that I have like a sibling.
Ooh.
Holler if you're my sibling. We'll do a paternity test. But yeah, I think that like that relationship is a truly like when someone is your parents and like he really grew into the role in a very natural way of being a father.
Yeah, I guess I'm so curious about all this because my last ex had a kid. And so I had even though we were so early into a relationship, I was still like considering the fact that like, okay, there's going to be a really high chance of like this relationship that I have with this kid is going to be very tumultuous and very like this kid is going to hate me for like more than a few years. But I don't know like if that's always how that plays out or if that's just like
I think if as long as you go in there and you don't crack the whip, you know, you go in there and just, hey, dude, I'm not your parent. I just want to be your friend. Let's just do on friendship first.
Oh.
And then we'll work on being a parent and a family.
Yeah.
And then after that, it just works out.
Yep.
Can you tell me about this chore list that I've been hearing about? Speaking of parenthood.
The chore list?
Yeah.
This is a hot take on parenting right here. So if you are a
Military
parent,
101.
yes, this is I have told numerous clients about this because I'm just going to interject. I think this is also part of being a parent and not having kids that are biologically yours and going in with it as your approach, which was like, hey, I'm not trying to be your dad. Because I think a lot of times like where people end up with this like role of a parent is because they are trying to be a parent where you are just being yourself.
Or you try to be like your parents.
Yeah.
And that shit don't work.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, you cannot be what your parents are or was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And okay, my list. I did it the military way. Okay, I didn't want anybody to, you know, they had chores.
Right.
Pick up dog poo. You know, clean the room.
Right.
You know, just different chores during the week. And then I said, okay, I want you to bring me a list of 5 punishments each.
Right.
And then I add on my punishments.
Oh, so 15 in total?
Oh, there was like 15, 20, 25.
Wow.
Yeah, it started out as like 15, and then I think like near the end it was at like 22.
Oh, wow.
But I made them fill out,
which is so cool.
5 of the worst punishments.
Because I am horrible to myself, so I chose the worst possible punishment.
I would be such a shithead. I would pick the easiest punishment.
Right.
Oh no, I am genuinely always going to be so much harder on myself. Yeah. So I chose like the phone was super vital for me.
Why would you put that on the list?
And that was the number one.
Because
like
he
phone.
said put your top 5 punishments.
You're such a good kid. Because I would have been like, okay, how do I do this so that way it seems like I'm trying, but like I'm not actually trying.
Right.
Hold up.
Battery?
Yeah.
Dang it.
Did we just miss all of that?
Hopefully not. I mean, if we're still recording, we're still recording.
We're not. This is zeros. Let's go.
Zeros all the way around. Yeah. Okay.
Because that's AA batteries.
AA. All of our batteries are going
loose.
And you
don't have AA.
Okay, so we were where did we leave off?
The punishments.
The punishments. 5 per person.
It's just flashing.
Keep that in your brain. It's fresh in our brains. 5.
It's not recording.
We overloaded it.
Hedge, you're too beautiful.
Cheese and wheat.
Rolling on 1. Whatever that means.
Do you know what that
why
means?
is it turning red like that?
I don't know. You're the tech support.
You're supposed to be our producer.
I have no idea.
Well,
Does it
you should
normally
just.
turn red?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sure.
I have no idea.
It does.
But just hang in here and. Hi guys. So as you can tell, we had some more technical difficulties. So apparently these last 2 weeks have been a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know why I was just talking with Barbie hands there. So
Wave.
Hedge, my dad, was in the middle of telling us about the chores / punishment list. We did have to take a couple hour break, so that's why if anyone looks different, it's because now we are very full of sushi. Callie is, what did you call it?
Comatose.
Sushi toast.
Yeah, sushi toast.
And drunk.
And she's drunk. And I am feeling pretty solid. And Hedge had an entire bottle of sake. So we
Just
are
one.
back to the list / punishments. The hot take for parents.
Hot take for parents. Oh, yeah, we left off on, you said that you had the kids write down 5 punishments.
Correct.
If they weren't, if they didn't complete a chore?
Correct. Because they would have the chore list and then the punishment list.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
And if they, if they didn't do their chores, they would
That's
get...
our floor creaking because Caboose just stepped on the creaky spot on the floor.
It wasn't
his
Caboose.
face was great.
It was a ghost. I'm telling you guys,
that
it's
was
a ghost.
Yes.
Anyway.
Anyways, so yeah, they would all write down 5.
5 punishments
Yeah.
if they didn't do their chores.
And then you would add yours, right?
And then I would add some to the chore list that they didn't write down.
Okay.
So let's say they didn't take out the trash.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Gaia, take a number. 1 through whatever, like 20.
Uh-huh.
And they figured out like number 3 was like the phone. And that would be her worst punishment because she was always talking on the phone to their friends and everything.
This is before the internet was like what it is now.
We-
so how you talk to your friends
we
was
still
on the phone.
we still had dial-up, so nobody was
Mm-hmm.
on. Merrick would have the computer,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
and Guy would have the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So they figured out quite fast that the numbers were always consistent to the punishment.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'll just change that. So I put it in random numbers on the punishment. And when they came out, and go, oh, I'll take number 3 because that's the computer. They're like, no, this one is picking up dog shit. And they're like, what? I said, hey, random on the list. Sorry, life's a bitch.
But you did do this really cool thing where you let us trade. So
True.
If he got no computer for a week and I got pick up all the dog shit, or walk up and down the road and pick up all the trash on the entire road. Which there was a lot of litter on that fucking road.
And there was
it was
no cars or anything because the road was a P shape. So you came off the interstate. It was just 2 lanes.
Yeah, like a highway.
Coming down, going to a P, and go back up.
Yeah, and it was just the neighborhood that was there.
Yeah.
But there was so much trash.
Interesting.
So, because like the people that lived there would just litter. They didn't give a shit.
Right.
Because we didn't live in like the nicest neighborhood. So they didn't care. So then, we had to like go down and pick up all the trash.
And I made a copy. I had them sign it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, right.
And I gave it to them both. So they had the responsibility of looking at their chores.
How old were they when they got a contract?
Oh, they were like 12, 13,
Yeah.
14.
You had these kids
12.
sign a contract?
Yeah, we had to sign a legally binding contract that
Did you
we
have a
understood
notary there as well?
our chores. He signed it too.
I-
We signed it and he signed it.
Okay, yeah, so it was a legally binding.
Legally.
Yeah.
So I didn't, it was great because I came home and the chores wasn't done. I would just say, whoever, pick a number. And there was no screaming and hollering or anything.
Really?
Yeah.
It was just completely fair all the way
Yeah.
through. Wow, that's nuts.
It was. It was cool.
That's nuts. I feel like if my parents had split up and like I had like a new, especially like male figure in my life, I feel like I'd have a lot of resistance to that.
Mm.
I never know though, because like I was obviously never put in that position. But I
Right.
feel like a lot of the stereotype is that like there's going to be a ton of resistance.
Well, you can't. That's going to be okay. You're going to have a father.
Right.
When you get into that position, you don't go in as a father.
Mm-hmm. That's where you were smart. I think
You go in as a person, hopefully with friendship, and then and then hopefully eventually they'll accept you as a parent,
Mm-hmm.
not as a father, mother, just a parent.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah, as a father figure.
Yeah.
Then what would you say your best like parenting advice would be?
Don't get married. No.
That's solid advice.
For people that are already married. And maybe people that want to have kids or have small kids. I mean, you
We call them
skipped all
baggage
those
now.
early-
We don't call them kids.
Sorry,
Yeah.
Large baggages
yes.
and small carry-ons.
Yeah, small carry-ons.
Carry-ons.
I think carry-ons are pets, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
Fuck that.
And then, yeah, so for people who want to go down that route or are already going down that route.
Don't read books.
Like any books?
Oh my gosh.
Are you talking about books on parenting?
Yes. Because they're going to tell you shit that you're going to do
Don't
and you're
read
going to be
books.
screwed up the rest of your life.
Oh,
Just do what's normal.
do what's normal.
If your kid gets out of line, sit them down and tell them why you shouldn't do that.
You know some books tell you that, right?
Oh, I know, but some of them too. Oh, just be their friends. And sometimes they got to have a little whack on their butt.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't be.
I don't know who this man is.
But
he
see,
never hit us.
But see, there's an age to where parents should not be hitting their children, or, you know, discipline is discipline, but hitting and smacking and, you know, stuff like that, there's an age where you gotta stop yourself from doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Because by that age, they should know right and wrong. But just, you know, I don't know. There is no real parenting 101. Just do what you think is best.
Okay, hot take. What's your parenting?
My parenting advice?
You have to give parenting advice. You can't skip the question. From a non-parent. A plant parent.
From an auntie.
Yeah.
Spray
The
with
best
water.
auntie advice I could give is make your kid feel like they can talk to you.
Yes.
So when they fuck up, don't like punish them right away. Just like hear them out. Because like, I don't know. You don't want them to like hide that shit from you.
Mm-hmm.
For example, someone today told me they skipped school and I was very upset. But I wasn't going to do anything about it because I would rather you feel comfortable enough to
That
tell
someone
me.
was me. I skipped school.
Gaia skipped school for us, and I was like, well, when you know they said that they were gonna do it, I was like, okay, for what? You know, let me hear you out. It better be for a good reason. It was not for a good reason, but they learned their lesson, and I was like, okay, whatever. You already figured it out. You already learned your lesson. Don't be a dumbass. But it's really important to me that they felt like they could tell me. So make your kid feel like they can talk to you. Don't punish them right off the bat. Hear them out.
Yes. Let take the 5 seconds to breathe and let them talk.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, because all that happens if you always punish them, and granted I was a really good kid, I didn't get caught for very many things, and I just became a really good liar, so that's all that happens.
Well, it's like negative reinforcement, you know?
If you punish when we tell you the truth, we're just gonna lie to you.
How's your kid supposed to know when they can come and talk to you then? You know, like subconsciously you've been giving them that negative reinforcement.
And always tell them, if for any reason you need a pickup, call us.
Yeah.
Because you called us a couple of times.
Yeah, let me be real fucking clear about that. I didn't call you because I put myself in situations. I called you because I had parents who put me in situations that I had to call. Like sending me to church with a bunch of strangers. That, you know, not the fucking best parenting. Or sending me on a blind date.
Ew.
That was the one, that this kid called up our house. I was in the shower. My mom accepted a date on my behalf.
Yikes.
I think it was just a case of like a parent wanting to get rid of their teenager on a Friday night. And she was like, yeah, fine, whatever, you take her. And then I got taken to backyard wrestling. And even though now I'm a massive pothead, I was straight edge before that was a thing. Let's be real clear.
She was.
Yeah, that was like you take aspirin. Oh, you're on drugs.
Yeah,
Really?
I was very
yeah.
anti-drugs, anti-alcohol, all that. Don't worry.
You're
Even if your
drinking
kid's
coffee,
a loser now,
you're
they
on
could
drugs.
be cool. Yep.
I
was
was
like,
say that.
whatever.
You're on drugs.
Yeah. Well, I drink coffee. I started drinking coffee like super early.
Right.
But,
What's your parenting advice?
my parenting advice: find another adult that is not you. Because no matter how much you think your kid trusts you, talk to you, is like your best friend, you're their best friend, they don't want to talk to you about a lot of shit.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
anything that's mildly embarrassing, find an adult that they can be real with. Because otherwise what happens is you've got kids learning about sex from other kids learning about drugs from other kids. Find an actual adult that they can look up to and trust to be able to have those conversations. So that way, when they do need a ride, they have someone else besides their parents. Or, in your case, when you have kids looking up to you, hence why I called you today and said I skipped school, because I look up to you. But yeah, I think it's important to have friends that your kids can actually have connections to. Mm-hmm. So that way, like when those, quote unquote, real conversations happen, because no matter how cool you are, your kid is not talking about sex. They're not talking to you about kissing or any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's weird. It's awkward. You can be super cool about it. But like they don't want to talk to you about it. So find them, like have people in your life that you want your kids around that also your kids want to be around.
Yeah. Don't force that on them. That connection can't be. Yeah.
No, just just get cooler friends. That's it.
Speaking of parenting and like childhood and stuff. Did you have any idea that Gaia was going to be a tattoo artist?
I knew she had talent because like we were talking, I have two daggers on my calves. Uh-huh. And she would, actually, I thought she was a weird child. because as soon as she get home, she would go to her room, close the door, or leave the door open, it didn't matter, and she would stay in there for hours.
I feel bad.
And I would be like, is she okay? She just goes to her room, and she's like, yeah, she's fine, she's just playing. And we'd go in there and we'd walk by and she'd be like drawing or painting or playing with her dolls and everything. But I have two tattoos on my calves, and one day she came out with Ken. And
no, it was Barbie.
Was it Barbie?
Yeah. And I only had one Ken, but I had like 12 Barbies.
And she goes, look what I did. And she had the designs on her calves were exactly like mine.
Wow.
I turned little gay Barbie into my dad.
Oh my God, she made you but like a Barbie.
Yeah. But it was like, I was like, man, that's freaking awesome. Mm-hmm. Because they were just like my daggers. That's so cool. I knew she had artistic skills.
Mm-hmm. So you had an idea that she was going to go down that path.
And then she took artistic art school in college. Mm-hmm. And then when we got the tattoo parlor, she just, she just started. I think she's one of those where she sits down and looks at a video and watches the video.
Yeah.
And then she'll pick up that technique.
Yeah, quick.
Yes.
Succubus.
That's what he always said. Mm-hmm. It's the weirdest thing. It's the weirdest compliment.
Tattoo succubus.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's a good thing. Well, that's why you're so big on when you apprentice people. You're like, you fucking better watch.
Yeah, because you learn so much watching somebody.
You do because you like how to hold it correctly. How, like you guys were saying the other day, how to pull a real long line. And you learn that from other artists.
Yeah, absolutely.
Using your shoulder.
Follow-up question.
Go.
Did you have any idea that she would be very queer?
Very.
Very, very.
I didn't know she was very.
Not just normal.
And I didn't know she was queer. Mm-hmm. Until about maybe 5? Well, you was always, I don't know, how would you put it? You were
a weird child.
No,
I was a weird queer child.
You said you were bi one day, and I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. It's
like, whatever. I'm not religious, so I'm not going by the Bible. Mm-hmm. I'm going by her.
Right.
I think there's so much pressure on children nowadays. Don't guide them one way or another until they realize what they are.
Yeah.
And I mean 18 to 21 range.
Right.
And then they'll figure it out in their time what they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of going, oh, she's a tomboy, she's going to be gay. You don't know that. But you were a tomboy, but we didn't say you were gay. We just said,
No,
Well,
because I was also a girly girl.
yes.
Mhm.
Because, we would go fishing. 3 minutes into fishing, I'm done.
It was so boring. It's the most boring sport in the entire world. I don't even know why it's called a sport.
I was talking
So
to
boring.
one of my high school crushes, and he was like, yeah, I'm going fishing. And I was like, oh, really? I love fishing. Fishing is so fun. He's like, do you like fishing or do you like catching? And I was like, oh, I like catching.
Yeah, catching is fun.
And then he was like, no, then you don't like fishing. And I'm like, that makes sense, though, breaking it
Yeah.
down. No, the catching
Because
is
it's
the
that
only
whole
fun
fishing lie of you can't talk because it'll scare the fish away.
Is that
You're
true?
like, no, it's not true.
It's only if you're throwing shit in the lake or the river. Well, not even the river, because the river has a stream, a current,
Yeah.
and it's making noise all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But lakes, you throw stuff in,
and it disrupts
it makes a sound in the
they can
water,
feel it. Yeah.
and it scares
So
them
basically,
away.
Dad's lie.
Yes,
That's what I
we-
got. Dad's lie.
Yes, but it's fun.
Oh my god.
You had a question for us?
No.
Mm-hmm. Liquid.
Oh,
Oh, y'all. This is the best part about my... Hold on, let me interject. This is the best part about my dad. My dad is so okay with, anything. So when I was like, hey, I'm gay, he's like, okay. And I was like, hey, I'm getting married to a man. He's like, okay. And when I was like, hey, I am non-binary.
Mhm.
And that was, only, last year we had that
Yeah.
revelation where I was
Yeah.
like, oh, shit, I don't identify as a woman, all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And...
like that one, non-binary. I'm like, what the fuck is that?
But he just goes, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But you would tell me, or I would look it up, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You asked, what was that thing you posted? Something about gay liquid. And I was like, there's a liquid that makes you gay?
Yeah, it's called alcohol. It takes down your inhibitions, and you know to go for the right side.
For the right, yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
For
the,
the right side.
correct side
Well,
is what happens when you have alcohol.
What he originally was trying to ask, but we got to the bottom of it, was what is gender fluid?
Gender fluid, but in my mind, it was always liquid fluid.
I like gender liquid better.
Yeah, gender
Yeah.
liquid.
Yeah, gender liquid. Gender fluid basically means that, because gender is, it's not like, how do I explain it in a better term than what Drunk Callie is trying to say?
No, let Drunk Callie speak her mind.
Drunk
This is going to be
Callie
so good.
Drunk Callie.
Says that gender is a social construct, first of all. Basically, you can identify as a man and you can identify as a woman, right?
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that you're born like a cis man means that you have a penis, right? That's the cis man, basically. But if you have a penis and you want to identify as a woman, then you identify as a woman. But when you're gender fluid, that means that you go and you are both. It's fluid. So you're in the spectrum of, sometimes I feel more of a woman today, and sometimes
Okay.
I feel like more of a man today, and sometimes I don't feel like either.
Yep.
So it's just a very...
Which is where androgyny lies.
Yeah.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's just more whatever you feel that day is the way, or not even that day, it could be hourly.
It could be hourly, it could
Because
be
you could-
monthly.
Because you could see somebody, the opposite sex, beautiful or whatever, that inspires you to watch them or whatever. Because it doesn't have to be beauty, because it could be like a hair design.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, God damn, that's beautiful.
Right. I want to try that.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm floating on through.
Floating on through.
Yep. In the gay liquid.
Liquid gay.
Yep. Get your can of liquid gay today.
Oh, that's gonna be our next one.
Yep.
Yep. Did you have any last questions?
I just wanted to ask you, when did you get your first tattoo and what was that like? Because you've been getting tattooed for a long time.
I was trying to think when it was I started in Spain in 90s,
Mhm.
no, 92, something like that. And my first tattoo was on my forearm, the one that's been covered up by you. It was Meatloaf Bat Out of Hell album with the motorcycle bike.
Yeah.
What?
With the metal wheel tearing into the flesh.
Meatloaf?
Yes.
Meatloaf is
you
awesome.
are fucking, it makes so much sense.
I love Meatloaf.
Because I would listen to it.
Yeah, exactly. That
I
makes
love
so
Meatloaf.
much sense. Wow, that was your first tattoo?
That was my first one.
In Spain?
In Spain.
In pain.
It wasn't bad.
Oh, okay.
It was on the forearm.
Did you even know who it was?
Oh yeah, because he did my back, he did my calves, he did most of my arms at that time.
In Spain?
Well, we started in Spain, and then when I got to Shaw Air Force Base in the 2000 area?
Late 90s, you got
Late
the Shaw.
90s.
Yeah. Because I moved up in 96.
He was there
97.
in Shaw.
So he was also in the military?
Yes.
Okay, so it wasn't a...
Tattoo artist?
No. He is a tattoo artist, but he was in the military.
Oh.
But the military didn't pay him to be a tattoo artist.
It was his side job.
Really, his side hustle was
Yes.
the tattoos, not his...
And we do it at his house.
Things were different back then.
And it was the old style.
Meatloaf.
You cannot apply today's standards to 20 years ago.
Because, that was normal.
Yeah.
Like when I don't know when you did your first. Was it in the studio?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because your mom.
I learned in a shack.
Right.
She did her first tattoo. Well, technically a shed.
Right.
A shed. And then she did her first tattoo on me in a shed.
Right.
On an incline weight bench. That for some reason, I have no idea. This makes absolutely no sense to me. The guy that was teaching us had me up on the incline weight bench. So then, and it's on my hip, which is also just a dumb as fuck place for your first tattoo. To perform it as a tattoo artist, because your stomach and hip are very stretchy.
Dude, it's gnarly.
And then I'm compressed, so it's squishing that skin together instead of laying it completely flat.
Maybe that's why she took 5 hours. To do
5 hours to do a 2x3 tattoo.
I can't stretch it anymore.
I had to help stretch. It was just genuinely all around a terrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
But and you got to remember that South Carolina, when did it go into
2005? It became legal.
So anything before that was scratchers.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking, not that long ago.
Yeah, no, not at all.
We were the last two of the states. I think it was Missouri and South Carolina.
Whoa, that's nuts.
Yep.
And, in 2005, it's like, what the hell?
And look how far we've come now.
Exactly.
Silent machines, blanket warmers.
Blanket
iPads
warmers.
For the,
Yeah.
You didn't give me a blanket warmer.
You had a blanket on your chair.
Oh.
Well, we can give you a fresh one when it's all warm and stuff.
Okay.
This man didn't give him a blanket warmer. He didn't notice my wireless tattoo machine. He got so excited about that.
Really
cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he had to listen to me bitch about that years ago.
Yeah. Well, the
You
technology.
know me and cables.
Oh, God, it's fucking annoying. The little, the cables for the, what is it? I can't believe I forgot clipcord.
The clipboard.
The clip cord for your fucking machine.
Yeah.
It's basically the same thing as headphone wires.
Mm-hmm.
You look at that thing, it gets tangled.
And
you just look at it wrong and it gets fucking tangled. And it's
you'd
so
have
annoying.
to use the foot pad.
Yeah, the foot pedal. Yeah, it's crazy. The technology in tattooing is advancing so quick that even the apprentice now, I'm not much older than him in the whole grand scheme of tattooing, and I looked at his power supply and I was like, oh fuck, I forgot that you're not your timer isn't connected to it, because he's using a wireless battery, and he's like, what do you mean by timer? And I was like, oh my god, holy shit, never fucking mind.
It's one of those cases where you take new tattoo artists and you show them here's a foot pedal, and they're like, what is a foot pedal?
Yeah.
You're like, do you know what this cord is?
What
This is
does this
the
do?
clip cord.
Yeah.
It's like, what's this? It's a rotary phone.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Well, we're gonna get there soon with this next generation.
Alrighty, so do you have any last messages to our listeners? Anything you want to say to
Nope.
everyone that
I'm
loves
good.
us and supports us? No? He says, nope, he's good. Thank you guys so much. We apologize about the difficulties we have had. We are obviously still a baby podcast. I think this is like episode 20 or 21.
Yeah.
And for some reason, our camera equipment just decided to take a shit on us.
Well,
this
to
week.
be fair, it's been a crazy, crazy month.
Yeah.
It's
know.
the energy in the room. It's my energy. I just don't want to tell you.
Yeah, he is disrupting the electronics in the room because he is indeed a ghost.
Yes.
So, but thank you so much. And then next week we will finish answering the 101 questions.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, you still have a couple days to send in any more questions that you have. And thank you. We will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.